Oh boy, my FBI agent sure is gonna love this, but I just had to make this new channel because I've been hearing a lot of people call each other the N word because they don't agree with what each other are saying. I would just use the word, I say it from time to time, but you can't say those things here on YouTube. I don't mean that word, I mean the one that you call white people, obviously. The N word, the German one, is short for National Socialism, and nationalism is seen as a right wing ideology, but socialism is a left wing thing, and that's what they use to get the people on board with their ideas. Also, you might think of white supremacy as a right wing ideology, but you might not know this about the KKK. Check out these clips from Forgotten History.
Historian George C. Rabel argues that the Klan declined in strength in part because of internal weaknesses, its lack of central organization, and the failure of its leader to control criminal elements and sadists. More fundamentally, it declined because it failed to achieve its central objective, the overthrow of Republican state governments in the South.
These days, the mainstream media wants you to believe that the Republicans are the face of white supremacy, but you may not know that the KKK actually has Democratic roots.
Historian Elaine France Parsons describes the membership, quote, "Lifting the Klan mask revealed a chaotic multitude of anti-black vigilante groups, disgruntled poor white farmers, wartime guerrilla bands, displaced Democratic politicians, illegal whiskey distillers, coercive moral reformers, sadists, rapists, white workmen fearful of black competition, employers trying to enforce labor discipline, common thieves, neighbors with decades-old grudges, and even a few freedmen and white Republicans who allied with Democratic whites or had criminal agendas of their own. Indeed, all they had in common, besides being overwhelmingly white, Southern, and Democratic, was that they called themselves, or were called, Klansmen." Another historian, Eric Foner, observed, "In effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party, the planter class, and all those who desired restoration of white supremacy. Its purposes were political, but political in the broadest sense, for it sought to affect power relations, both public and private, throughout Southern society. It aimed to reverse the interlocking changes sweeping over the South during Reconstruction, to destroy the Republican Party's infrastructure, undermine the Reconstruction state, reestablish control of the black labor force, and restore racial subordination in every aspect of Southern life. To that end, they worked to curb the education, economic advancement, voting rights, and right to keep and bear arms of black people. The Klan soon spread into nearly every Southern state, launching a reign of terror against Republican leaders, both black and white."
You may not have known that history because these days it seems like they're trying to erase it, but things that happened back then still have their effects today.
The final demise of the original Klan arrived in the form of a senseless murder of 19-year-old black male Michael Donald in 1981 and a trial that made history in Alabama. In 1987, the Klan was successfully sued in federal court in a historic $7 million verdict against the men involved in the lynching of Donald. But Robert K. Byrd, the Democratic leader and longtime senator, was a Klan recruiter in the 1940s. He described the organization as a group of upstanding people, doctors, lawyers, clergy, judges, who he thought could provide an outlet for his talents and ambitions, and also supported his opposition to communism. Byrd claimed to have left the KKK in 1946, but encouraged by the Grand Dragon of his KKK branch, and with Klan money, Byrd ran on the Democratic ticket for both state and federal offices. The Klan funded him throughout his career. Byrd opposed Brown versus Board of Education, supported Jim Crow laws, and separate but equal racial laws. He joined James Strom Thurmond Sr., who also helped him in opposing racial equality laws, also opposed the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and ran with Klan money. Byrd called civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. as a self-seeking rabble-rouser. Both Hillary Clinton and Joseph Biden proudly proclaimed Senator Robert K. Byrd to be their mentor.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
What Biden just said wasn't a clip from Forgotten History, but the rest of it was. And I know what you might be thinking. Well, they taught me in school that the parties flipped a long time ago. Well, check out this clip from Carol Swain over at PragerU.
Once upon a time, every student of history, and that meant pretty much everyone with a high school education, knew this. The Democratic Party was the party of slavery and Jim Crow, and the Republican Party was the party of emancipation and racial integration. Democrats were the Confederacy, and Republicans were the Union. Jim Crow Democrats were dominant in the South, and socially tolerant Republicans were dominant in the North. But then, in the 1960s and 70s, everything supposedly flipped. Suddenly, the Republicans became the racists, and the Democrats became the champions of civil rights. But this story of the two parties switching identities is a myth. So what really happened? Why does the South now vote overwhelmingly Republican? Because the South itself has changed. Its values have changed. The racism that once defined it doesn't anymore. Its values today are conservative ones, pro-life, pro-gun, and pro-small government. And here's the proof. Southern whites are far more likely to vote for a black conservative like Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina than a white liberal. In short, history has moved on. Like other regions of the country, the South votes values, not skin color. The myth of the Southern strategy is just the Democrats' excuse for losing the South, and yet another way to smear Republicans with the label racist. Don't buy it.
So as you can see, Republicans have been supporting civil rights for a long time, but the Democrats have just been using that narrative to turn us against each other and to get your votes. And not only that, but they're trying to change history so that they can implement regulations that go against your values. Does anybody actually believe that lowering standards for certain individuals is actually going to cause them to become more successful?
We're seeing this phenomenon where lowered standards are becoming the norm in the name of anti-racism.
The San Diego Unified School District is changing the way students are graded after it was revealed that minorities get worse grades compared to white students.
Teachers can no longer consider non-course material factors like turning assignments in on time and classroom behavior into a student's academic grade.
Board members say the changes are part of a larger effort to combat racism.
What they are saying is that black people can't learn the same way as other groups, so they have to have this special treatment. Those black young people that they are not requiring to learn are not going to be prepared to function the way they should in our society.
You see that over here, students are struggling, and instead of helping them more, you say, all right, well, we'll accept your failure.
There is absolutely zero evidence that any of this actually results in improved outcomes for children. You are not only implicitly, but explicitly saying that black students are not capable of meeting a high, rigorous standard. That is the most insidious form of racism.
And I feel personally insulted because to me, they are letting pass as genius something which they never would if it was not a black person doing it. Is that how they're judging me? Are they telling me that I'm so wonderful because they think that it's a good thing because I'm brown?
They're turning us against each other, they're destroying our society, and they're setting us up for anything other than success. No matter what color you are or what you believe in, this affects all of us, and they're actively working against you. But they're trying to keep everybody convinced that Donald Trump is a racist for some reason. But don't let me tell you that he's not a racist. Here's Don King on the subject.
Mr. King, what do you say to people who think that Donald Trump has been very divisive and bad for minorities?
That is a big crutch because we're already divided. We already are working against freedom, justice, and equality and togetherness. And so Donald Trump is exposing that. He didn't establish this. It's already there. This is the worst situation we've been in hundreds of years now. You know what I mean? So Donald Trump is trying to bring somebody together, but he wants to bring you not on your knees as a slave. He wants to bring you as a man or a woman where you can have equalness. And that means we will create a whole new system because this system don't consider black people as human beings. They're inferior. They don't consider the white woman as a justified human being. They figure she's property. And so the master owns us both. That's the property. The White Supremacy Act is even a flaw because they don't include the white woman. You know what I mean? So what are you talking about? This is what we're fighting against. We know one land, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Donald Trump represents that figure that will go out and put himself in harm's way for the betterment of this great nation called America.
Is that not enough? Don King too old? Well, here goes Herschel Walker.
You know me as a football player, but I'm also a father, a man of faith, and a very good judge of character. I've known Donald Trump for 37 years, and I don't mean just casual ranting to him from time to time. I'm talking about a deep personal friendship. He taught me that the family should be your top priority. I watched him treat janitors, security guards, and waiters the same way he would treat a VIP. He made them feel special because he knew they were. He understands that they are the people who make this country run. They clean, they cook, they build, they drive, they deliver. He told me, Herschel, make an effort to get to know people. Remember their names. That stuck with me. It hurt my soul to hear the terrible names that people call Donald. The worst one is racist. I take it as a personal insult that people would think I've had a 37-year friendship with a racist. People who think that don't know what they're talking about. Growing up in the Deep South, I've seen racism up close. I know what it is, and it isn't Donald Trump. Just because someone loves and respects the flag, our national anthem, and our country, doesn't mean they don't care about social justice. I care about all those things. So does Donald Trump. He shows how much he cares about social justice in the Black community through his actions. And his action speaks louder than stickers or slogans on a jersey. He keeps right on fighting to improve the lives of Black Americans and all Americans. He works night and day. He never stops. He leaves nothing on the field. Some people don't like his style, the way he knocks down obstacles that get in the way of his goals. People on the opposing team didn't like when I ran over them either, but that's how you get the job done. I pray every night that God gives him more time. Give him 4 more years. He has accomplished so much almost all by himself on a constant attack. But there's still more work to be done. If you love America and want to make it better, Donald Trump is your president. He's my president, and I'm blessed to call him friend.
The people in power want you to forget the importance of family, and like I said before, they want us to be fighting against each other. They don't follow the same ideology as you and me do, and the only thing that they want is more power. They don't want to help you. The one thing that they really fear is us coming together and getting along, because then we'll take the power away from them. The real fight is between the elites and the poor, and they make all the rules, so they have us all fighting over the leftovers. They're destroying our families, sterilizing our children, and destroying our education. And the whole time, they're just sending all of our tax money overseas while they devalue our dollar out of existence. Normal people like you and me can barely afford to put food in our mouths, and they tax the hell out of us while they tell us that it's our fault and because of our neighbors that we can't afford to eat. For the most part, people just want to be able to live comfortably and supply a better future for their kids. And the way things are going, nobody's going to have any of that, because the people in power are greedy as hell and they just keep taking all of our money while they make everything else more expensive. And they've turned people against each other to the point that we've got people burning down their own neighborhoods because somehow the media has convinced them that burning down their neighbors' businesses is somehow going to make things better. We need to come together and rise up against these stupid bastards, really. What the fuck? But it's not too late, and we can all still come together if we just sit back and realize who the real enemy is. So let me know in the comments if you guys learned anything from this video today and what kind of social issues you want me to conquer in the future. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, but most importantly, don't forget to have a wonderful day and take care of your family. I'll see you next time. Bye.